was interviewing a professor of transpersonal psychology in London. His name is Professor Oluwafemi. He's a very important personality that I respect a lot. The conversation was about Ifa theology. Ifa is, of course, is a reality in the Yoruba tradition of West Africa, Nigeria. Now, he said that when a child is born, according to Ifa theology, at the 7th day or at the 8th day thereabout, the elders will gather to consult an oracle. And what the elders are looking for is, what is the mission of this newborn baby? I want you to pay attention, take time to reflect on that. Is that not an attempt to resolve the question that we have today, which is identity crisis? Because if the child can understand his or her mission within this microcosm, it will never be confused, because it will know what he or she is supposed to do as a contribution to the society where he or she finds himself or herself.
Finding purpose, and the purpose many times is in the pain we have gone through. Your resilience and belief in self still goes back to who you are, which you have to embrace your culture. There's a lot of our success is in life and in business especially goes back to your generational stories. What are you embracing? What are you denying? Who is telling you a story that is not true? As Dr. Marcia says, we have to know who is telling you the story, where has the source come from.
Like Dr. Marcia is saying, we will reshape that narrative according to our time, according to the relevance of our time. You see, what we are doing now, this recording that is done today, 29th of July, 2024, is going to be available even 500 years from now. But it's not going to be available in the same way that we are consuming information. People are going to transform in the way that they consume information. They're going to reshape this narrative, not according to how I see it now, but according to how it makes sense to them. The importance of us doing it now is that we help them to have a frame of reference. So we don't need to underestimate what we are doing here. We don't need to underestimate the fact that we should go into the community and try to mop out what we can to learn about the people. Because all the information are there. We need to do something about it to help ourselves and to help also others that are going to come. This is fundamentally important. Now with that, I want to go to Yemi. Yemi, I like the work that you are doing. Of course, each of us need to work from our different vantage point, from our calling. But we have calling. I was interviewing a professor of transpersonal psychology in London. His name is Professor Oluwafemi. He's a very important personality that I respect a lot. The conversation was about Ifa theology. Ifa is, of course, is a reality in the Yoruba tradition of West Africa, Nigeria. Now, he said that when a child is born, according to Ifa theology, at the 7th day or at the 8th day thereabout, the elders will gather to consult an oracle. And what the elders are looking for is, what is the mission of this newborn baby? I want you to pay attention, take time to reflect on that. Is that not an attempt to resolve the question that we have today, which is identity crisis? Because if the child can understand his or her mission within this microcosm, it will never be confused, because it will know what he or she is supposed to do as a contribution to the society where he or she finds himself or herself. What again this is saying is that the system have actually been set up for us so that we cannot be confused. But if we are trying to ride another man's horse, abandoning our own, it is natural that we are confused. So I come back to you, hear me. How does storytelling contribute to what you are doing? How does it make sense to what you are doing? Please share with us.
Thank you, Obehi, and thank you for our audience being very attentive. And what struck me as this conversation continues is what Dr. Thomas said, and that is finding purpose. And the purpose many times is in the pain we have gone through. And the story, the identity, the equity, the documentation will continue to evolve. But in relation to storytelling, and even in business, is what your purpose is in a season many times relates to the pain. And I relate that to my work because my work has evolved over 30 years, but presently I started doing this work with widows in terms of because of what my story's been, and as a surviving, thriving widow, and gaining the resilience I've got from past and present widows.
Hello, and thank you for checking out this video. I'm Obehi Ewanfoh, the host of the African Diaspora Storytelling Series. Every 2 weeks, we meet up on LinkedIn to talk about different ways we can leverage the power of storytelling as people of African descent. Now, this is it. We are uniting the millions of Africans in the diaspora through the power of our story. It does sound like what you are interested in. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends who might need it. Now, back to today's conversation.
That is my story, and that's why I focus a lot on life coaching, empowering widows. I've had the opportunity on my podcast to speak to widows from different parts of the world. So in terms of their stories are quite different because they are placed in different contexts of the world. So their experiences, some of them are still the same, what their forefathers went to as widows, and some are in Western contexts where the stories are similar but are different due to context. So that is my life purpose. My life purpose is to encourage widows. And in some contexts, there's a narrative that states that once you've lost your spouse, a woman has no right to remarry. And that relates to what you want and you're ready emotionally is a choice and a step you should take. And being a woman of faith, I'm a Christian woman, I also believe that whatever pain we have, as Gloria Tinu said, we also have to tie it into whatever pain or event that happens in our present life. You tie it back. Your survival goes back to your generational story, knowing who you are, who were your forefathers, what did we go through, what have we survived. If we could survive a displacement of people, like the African diaspora, the African narrative, for example, I'm Nigeria here, we have different phases of how Nigerians came to England. But one of the main stories is about during the slave trade. So in spite of that, we take from that and it evolves into how does it relate to me today? And as Gloria rightly said, it is about resilience. My forefathers survived that. So now I'm placed in a context where I might exist as a minority and my host country are the majority, but that should not prevent me from not having access. So identity, I go back to identity. Identity in what you believe is echoing a lot of the profound words of Dr. Marcia Thomas. What is your point of reference? What do you believe in? What is your history? What do you know about your heritage? What have your forefathers survived? Equity, wherever you are placed, wherever you have been displaced, or wherever your forefathers have been displaced, and that meant you were born in a nation where you're a minority, your resilience and belief in self still goes back to who you are, which you have to embrace your culture. And saying that's why I tend to do monthly workshops on this topic. As much as I do life coaching and I focus on relationships and finance, I also still go back to identity because a lot of our success is in life and in business especially goes back to your generational stories. What are you embracing? What are you denying? Who is telling you a story that is not true? As Dr. Marcia says, we have to know who is telling you the story, where has the source come from? And then thirdly, documentation, the authenticity of that has been documented. That's why it's important we write our own stories. People who have not experienced our stories should not really be writing our stories, because it will always come from their perspective. And what came to mind also, just to finish up, I'm aware of the time, is evolving. Our stories will continue to evolve. There's our forefather stories, and then there are your stories. You have stories you have in you that you can start to write now. And as Gloria reminded us, and Dr. Marcia and Obehi, there's technology. You can speak it into a microphone, you can film it, you can podcast it. There's so much choice, but please document. And I pass it back to you, Obehi.
Thank you so much for that, Yemi. That is really beautiful. This is a great conversation that we're having today. It's a great one. We are also continuously expanding this series. All these conversations that we are having today, they are available as video in our YouTube channel. It was formerly called the African Docs, but now we call it the Diaspora Storytelling Series, because all these videos are going to end up there. Why we are doing that is so that people can have access to it. You see, I've learned a lot just going to internet like YouTube to listen to the conversation of people. You see, speeches that were made hundreds of years ago are still valuable to me. That is how I know that what we are saying today is valuable to me now. So I know how it can be valuable also to other people. When maybe by scrolling, because now we are in the business of scrolling, they scroll and they find information like this, they will find it valuable. It is very important. So I really thank all of you that are participating in the conversation.